Hello RC fans, Racing 393 for another video, and we're on to the LMP12 again. I'm going to try and keep mainly my LMP12 going throughout the summer to see whether I improve. The ultimate goal is to show you that someone like myself, who I wouldn't say has any clue, but it's a very new sport, new subject. Since I've been starting this, it's a massive learning curve. I'm just going to see whether or not if perseverance, a little bit of knowledge, asking, a bit of help here and there, a little bit of money spent, does it make a difference? So that's what this is. My LMP12 is all about. So in this video, I'll keep this intro very short. We're about to visit another club event at my local-ish, just under an hour away. Wycombe Radio Control Car Club, which runs every second Tuesday evening from 6 o'clock, I think. So I have to sort of arrange my diary accordingly to go there. It's an hour. I say an hour. I keep saying an hour. It's nearly, isn't it? 50 minutes there and back. So it's 2 hours of travelling. So it's quite a commitment. Nothing is just down the road anymore, it seems. So yeah, so the video is just basically about me preparing the car, which I'll go into a little bit more detail during the video. A few setup changes, a few things I found out. It's all still learning, isn't it? It's a massive learning curve. Just when you think you know, you don't. So I think a lot of it's going to have to be down to me and my driving style with a transmitter to control a car, rather than my right foot and left foot, or right and left. Anyway, I'm going off the piece there. Yeah, it's really is quite a unique way to drive these cars, and I definitely haven't found that yet. So I hope you enjoy the video. Maybe if you're new, you'll learn something, and if you aren't new and you're experienced, then please stick a comment or anything that can guide me into the right direction. Something you know works. It'd be most helpful. If you hear something that I've said or explained and you think it might be incorrect, and yeah, but I'm all ears. So I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, LMP12 again. Done a bit of work to it since I last used the car. I'm trying to think when I used it. It would have been, I think, the test and tune day. So if you haven't seen that video, then I might, if I think of it, I'll put a link, but I might not think of it. But we did a lot of work on this now. A few bits and pieces. We've got some new. I need to sneeze. So I've got some new kit, just to make my life a little bit easier, to be honest. First and foremost, I'm not going to drag it down, but it's up there. I've got a proper tyre truer, which is what I've done these tyres with. Now these are the ones I used at the test and tune day. I know it doesn't really show up too much on the camera very well here, but I don't know what you're supposed to be looking at. As in, well, they're tyres that are trued, but it's certainly a lot easier with the machine. It's not automatic, you've still got to wind it in yourself. It's by Fast Tracks. And I've also got like a little to help with, although I haven't done it on both sides, which I forgot, to chamfer the edges ever so slightly. On the fronts, you can chamfer the edge, which is what you should do. I've been told that's what you should do. I don't think I did the inside edge, as my big fat head's in the way, but I can't remember. I think I forgot, but I sort of, because my car tends to hit everything other than, well, it doesn't hit everything, but I'm more likely to hit everything. So hence why these get damaged. They're not too bad, but I had some real problems with this car, which I'll go into in a sec. So, well, let me see, can you see that? Yeah, that there, that's a power pack, 750 watt, 60 amp, 12 volt. It's plugged into the mains. You can plug everything off that, like this new, well, not new light, I've had this, you can't really see this, but there's a light there. I've had it for ages, but it had, it's not designed to be plugged in unless it's by the sort of the jacks, you know, like a bit like, I don't know what these are called, like them banana leads, I don't know what they're called. As it happens, these, that's my new charger, iCharger, which well, it charges, isn't it? But it has more information to hand if you know what to look for. I'm just getting used to it. I have actually charged and redone my 1S lipos, because one of them, when I was using the lipo, what I would call went into limp mode, i.e. in RC terms, is that low voltage cut off, although it was fully charged. So either it wasn't, there's a fault, or somewhere else here, which isn't to hand at the moment. Nothing's to hand at the moment. I've got this here. I need to show you that. Got one right there. It's one of the modules that you plug into your speed controller. You can change all the settings. Or either that was set wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. Right, I'm just going to go over some findings, which I've got here. So, when I was driving this car, it just, under power, it was pushing a lot. Don't know if that's a thing. With a lot of rear grip, solid axle, that's what you'd expect to happen. But it was pushing a bit too much. Again, it's probably a setup problem or a driving problem. But on the front springs, when I took them off, my front springs had a white marking on them. And when you look at the Schumacher website, or anything, the Schumacher instructions, white is the hardest spring, which I didn't think sounded right in my head, but maybe it was, but I've changed them. I put on here that I found a fault. Before I go into that, let's go back to the springs. I'm jumping around because that's what my notes say. So it did have white springs, which were the hardest, and I've put them to black. Got a little black mark on them, which is the softest. So I've softened the front. The kingpins, which you can't see, I'm not going to show you as in show you, but the kingpins which are inside the front wheel, you probably know what that is anyway. They can be raised or lowered on the spindle. Say the spindle. Yeah, it is a spindle. It's not an axle. The axle's that, isn't it? So the spindle's this way. They can be raised or lowered by putting shims. I always had a problem with the car maybe being too low. I took them apart and found that was what I did initially thought was there was 4 shims on one side and 2 on the other. 2 of those shims are still stuck to the axle, the spindle. So it did have 4 on each side. But I've got spacers underneath here as well, so you can put shims or spacers underneath, which lowers the front, which I'd also done. So it's probably a bit too low. So they're still on there. But I've taken 2 shims out over each side. So there's like a thicker one and a thinner one. and I've measured the ride heights. It seems to be a little bit more equal. So let me just move this around so I can spin it. It seems to have done itself up. So on this left front here, 3.3 mil. On the right front, 3.1. I think it could. Well, I have turned the tyres down, but I'm not sure if I've measured them super accurately. But it could be a discrepancy. This here for ride height is 3.2, and that's 3. So it could be the tyre discrepancy with my ability not to measure properly, but it's closer than it has been. Anti-squat I've messed around with, understood, which is to do with the rear pod. It says in the instructions 4.3, but I think that's what it was at. I say I think, but I have measured it now with adjustment on this spring here at the back, which are pretty much the same as what. It's not the same spring, but they're the same as these. I think they're the same as these type of springs on the side. Anyway, I've tried that at 4.35, so slightly more, and the rear droop, which is, you probably can't see that, but there's a gap at the bottom. That little gap there, especially when it's on the deck and you lift it up using the front here, so you've got to make sure it's on the deck, and then when you lift it, it sort of moves this, and then the difference is the droop. Well, I'll put that at 1.2 mil. In the instructions it says 1, but I think it's all. I mean, I have measured that. It has always been 1 mil. What else have I done? The rear hangers. So what they are the spacers that go in the axle. There. They come in various different sizes, various different heights, not sizes. Based on the diameter of your tyre, it recommends 0.5 millimeters or 0.50 millimeters spacers, which is what I've done. So just to clarify, on the last test and tune day, the car pushed us on power, so I've increased the anti-squat. 75% steering, not sure what that means. I've wrote it down for some reason. Throttle curve rate 25%. I think I've left all that the same because that's on the transmitter. Same gearing, 43 pinion, 76 spur, so I haven't changed that. I have got the mesh a bit better. It wasn't quite right at the meeting. I used a typical, putting paper between. There might be another more scientific way of doing it, but I did the paper between the two. That seemed alright. Tyres are fairly accurate, even though the ride height might not be. So 41.23 left front, 41.18 right front, 41.38 left rear, and 41.40 right rear. The back tyres, I've done 2 usages, and the front I've put 3 for some reason. I'm not sure if I've put some dots on there. It's only got 1 dot. Don't quite know what I'm thinking there. I think the last time I used it, so it's been used once. I might have got that wrong. And the backs, there's 2 dots on there. So these have been used twice at the moment. So the next race meeting, which at this point's in 2 weeks' time, roughly, this will go up another use on each one. So I'll mark that down here. +1. The reason I put the droop 1.2 is apparently, according to Schumacher, it's easy to drive. We shall see. I haven't Oh, I haven't oiled the dampers yet. I've done the fronts. I've also put on some flatter those which go onto the battery so it doesn't hit the body shell. So they've gone on quite nicely. Lost my aerial post last time I used it. That's just another bit of plastic on there. I know most don't use aerials. It would be better if I didn't, but I do, so it is what it is. Yeah, what else? The body shell. So this was the body shell I was using. There's no point. I've got a new one up there. So this is a Super Rad. It's not the body shell that they're all using. The Bomber, which is up there. I've got another Bomber over the other side of the room, but that's knackered. So I have repaired this. It all seems to have come unstuck, which is a bit annoying, but I'm not quite sure what I can do on that. But it folded over at the rear and it got hit. So I've done that. I've put some more, I say tape down, but it doesn't seem to have stuck very well, I have to say. It's to do with this shed. Nothing sticks to this shed. I've got ceiling tiles on the roof and they keep coming off. So I might have to put some shoe glue on that on the bottom, which is what I'll probably do in a minute. Make sure it's stuck. But it is back together again, so it's a bit heavier than it perhaps needs to be. But at the moment, I don't need to worry about if it gets damaged. It's not too bad. See, I've got some damage on there, that wheel arch, but it'll do for now. I've got, like I say, I've got another body shell, which is no point. I'm not going to use that at the moment until I can get this around the track without hitting things or being hit by being a bit slow. So it'll wait. I've got another shell that I've got there. Super Rad. It's the one that was in the video. Ooh. It's got 3 colours on it, so it's the same shell at least. I think the Bomber shell does actually perform better. I think it's the shell of choice from what I can gather. What else? I think that's all I need to do at the moment. In this video, I will have a report of the race meeting, which at this point is in 2 weeks, so it'll be just part of this video. The Wycombe Tuesday night meeting, LMP12. I'm not going to worry about the Mini at the moment, the Mardave. No, I think I'll focus on this. I think that's about it for the time being. So I think there's nothing else that I've. Perhaps I need to get some more notage. But at the moment, I've done all I can. Don't want to go too far off the track, because if I change things, I need to know whether they've worked or not. Because I'm going to be the same. I'm going to be the same crap driver. That's the only thing that's going to be consistent at the moment. Yeah. Right. We'll catch up with you when we're at the meeting. Okay. So a little bit of voice over. It's going to be about. It's a good nearly 11 minutes of me talking, but this is practice. And straight off the top here, I apologise. The angle of my camera is annoying as hell. I didn't have it angled enough to see the whole track. But anyway, practice is here. So it's the first time out in the car for a while. It did feel better. It was handling better. It's a little bit more predictable, I felt. But and here we are now for the first race. Now I apologise if this drags on a little bit. I wasn't sure how to edit this. I'm car in the sort of the list car number 5, although there's only 4. So I'm last away here, and all I'm doing is doing laps. I'm pretty much keeping out of the way of people. This is the box setting that I left with in the video that this video went over all the settings I did, and I felt that the car was at least turning and where I wanted it. It was fairly, for me, predictable. I mean, what I did find over the course of this meeting was more of my technique. I couldn't go on power on certain corners. I need to look into that. It's something the other cars, when I could hear them, tended to be sort of on power on the corners. So there's definitely, even by doing that alone, by a little bit more, so hit the barrier, a bit more handling on the corners, like under power. There's easily, for me, even so I could see a second. If you're thinking to make so much, it might even be more, but the car was, you can't see the back straight. It was really annoying, but the car went actually quite straight down there, which I was quite chuffed with. And you can see here, I mean, when the cars come up to me, I'm pretty much just keeping out of the way, because as I sort of hit the barrier there, and I think that's more technique than anything, because I turned in too early. So it could be that the car is too darty. I don't think so, based on what the others are going around there at. So every time a car came behind me, I just moved out of the way. There are occasions which I'll point out to you where I'll try and move out of the way, and I almost have a brain freeze. I don't know what to do, and then whack, you get poleaxed by another car. But I'll have to. It's my fault, I can only apologise ahead of time there. So it's not going too bad. I mean, at the end of each session, as I hit the barrier again, I'll turn in too much. At the end of each sort of session, I will put up the times and go over it with you. There's not much to it. I mean, for this part, I am miles off the others, so it's not a comparison. I suppose over the course of the year, depending how many meetings I can do, you can then hopefully see some improvement. But it's not a very difficult track. Yeah, I mean, you can see there I'm in an R in a which way to go, and I shouldn't really do that. As racing is, well, it's qualifying. You should just drive, but I'm a bit unpredictable myself, so that's why I'm a bit cautious when other cars come near me. I didn't want to get in their way. Yeah, like that there, some random thing that I was trying to, and he really whacked that there, and he broke the barrier. Anyway, round 1, and you can see me there. 34 laps. It's probably worth thinking of that. My best 10, 12, 16, quite way off. But it's quite a gap between the best 12. The best 10 and my fastest. Now keep an eye on that. So 11:54 was my fastest. It is what it is. That's what we're faced with at the moment. And yeah, we're on to round 2 very shortly. Again, that's the end. I think that's the end of the race. I can't hear it from where I'm sat now, but yeah, I think that's the end of the race there. You see damaged barrier there. Look, that was really hard. So on to round 2. Now, probably what I've realised is I've maybe edited the racing so it's a bit too long, and trying to that was straight away trying to narrate when not a lot's happening, plus I'm not quite sure what to talk about. I might end up having to edit these right down until I'm good, if I'm good. But for I've done quite a lot of changes here for round 2. Just changing things like, when you put the tyre softener on, how long you leave it on for, which tyres you're doing. What I did also is I left some of the tyres untreated from the race before to see if it makes a difference. I think it did, and what I'm hoping that in the video after this, it will go over what I've done. Round 2, same old situation, slightly better, more closer. So 37 laps. I think that was my maximum under the 8 minutes. But 11:69 and 11:40 was my fastest. So it is improving, and those two times were getting closer together. So this is round 3. I didn't mark which was what, but round 3, very short and sweet. Same old thing, but my car going around hitting barriers and getting out of the way. But the times are coming up now, and hopefully they're improving. So there's less laps, 35. Probably not far off actually. So for round 3, 11:79, 11:13. My goal is to get into the 10-second bracket. That's my first goal. As I hit the barrier again, and watch this, look, bang! that was really hard. And what that did, that moved the front brace that I was talking about at the end of the video, because it kept stripping the bolts, and it was facing right up, so it had like, the caster must have been like centimeters, so it made the steering super tight. As I was coming around the corner, I was like doing the steering a little bit, and it was whacking in. Anyway, enough of that. Track repairs, because it wasn't the LMPs doing that. It was, I think it was the minis bringing the tape up. So they were repairing the track, which took a little bit of time. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Now the final starts on the back straight, and it's an actual race, as it were. I'm still last away, and I kept out of the way. I'm just so dubious about being in the way, especially the first two, who were quite competitive with each other, so I definitely didn't want to upset their race. Bearing in mind, it was only me going round. I'm even dubious if I'm passing people. There must be something wrong if I'm passing people. But I was getting, I know you can't quite tell from this crap video angle, but the car, apart from then when I'm hitting the barrier, brain freeze moment there, the car, even though it's not perfect, is more predictable. I have thought of some ideas which I might change for next time, which I'll go over in the sort of the tech video, if you can call it tech. So there's only like, what was there, 4 cars out there? I think Mark Goodchild actually went. Is it Goodchild? I forget his name. I think he went up to the A final. He was that good. He was lapping as quick as what the A finalists do. Well, he did say snuck in, but he deserved to be there. So we're coming up now to the results now for the final. Remember, 37 was my longest. So there we go. 37 again. 11:38. So maybe not. I'll have to compare these properly. But 10:96 was my best lap. So I did achieve getting into the 10 seconds just, but I'm still way off everybody else. So that's almost the end of this part, the narrative part of the racing. Again, I apologise to the camera. It is really makes me angry, I suppose. It's really frustrating of where to angle the camera. It depends where the cap peak is pointing, but I'll know for next time it has to sort of look out. But I hope you enjoyed sort of this video and my sort of feedback. If you've got any advice, please shout, and I hope it helps out some people. So we'll get on now to the rest of the video. Well, there we have it. So I hope you found that video interesting. I haven't actually done the editing yet of the meeting, and so I can only speak how I think it should be. It won't be just drawn out. hopefully, and you enjoyed that. You could at least see what I can see, hopefully. If not, then there's a reason that recording didn't work properly, and I apologise in advance for something that hasn't happened yet. So the meeting on the 11th of June 2024 at Wycombe Radio Control Car Club. So let's start off. I'll try and keep this fairly brief because I'm going to do a follow-up video of my preparation and for after the event, looking at the car. There was quite a lot that happened. Annoying things happened. So we'll start off with the trip there. I know I say I don't know the way there off the top of my head. I've got a rough idea. I didn't use what 3 words this time. I put in the postcode. Maybe I put the wrong postcode in because it took me. I don't know where it took me. As it happens, I was 15 minutes away from the well, I should have been in the middle of really busy. Was it Wycombe? Oh, I don't know. It was horrendous. As in, I couldn't even stop to redo the sat nav. I tried voice recognition and it just wouldn't recognise my voice. I'm not clear enough. Even the sat nav was saying something really weird miles away. Oh, not that one. So I had to keep driving, knowing I was in the wrong place, trying to look for somewhere to park because the road I was on, everything on the left was double yellows. And it was a busy road, and the right you could park, but you had to cross like the traffic, and I just couldn't be bothered. Anyway, long story short, we got there. Still really early. Got there before I was the first one there, like I usually am. If I left half an hour later, I wouldn't get there because of the traffic. So I have to work my work and my work day around doing the club meetings, which means I can't always do every 2 weeks. I'm thankful that they are every 2 weeks rather than every week because you'd miss loads. But if you miss a 2-week gap, you race once a month type of thing. So either way, we just have to do what we can. So we got there. We helped set the track up and sort things out, which I quite enjoy doing. And away we went. So I got my car ready. Now, what was I doing at the beginning? So, I mean, I'd done my car, like, gone over it when I was at home. So it should have been all properly done. As I was messing around with the car like you do, you got it on the bench, and I'd done the sort of the side dampers. I didn't actually do the centre damper. I left the oil what was in it, but the side dampers I changed. The oil thickness. And whilst I was sort of messing around with the car, pushing at the back, thinking, yeah, it feels all right. And I did the front. I just noticed something. What? That doesn't look right. I was pushing it down. I thought, it seems like there's something else moving. I'll go into it more during the car debrief video, if you like. I don't know what else to call it, but for now. But there was something on the front of the Schumacher front brace, sort of the what would you call that? The axle, the stub axle mounting, spindle mounting carbon fibre part. There is a name for it. It's eluded me for the moment. I will look it up and we'll do it on another video. But that was loose, even though it was done up. I spoke to someone there who runs Schumacher, and he knew it was doing. He was in the he was in the B final, but he was really quick. So yeah, he told me what I should be doing on it. And I'll go into it in more detail in the aftermath video, but it was a bit annoying. I kind of sorted it a bit. What else happened? Now I got my tyre softener, and during the meeting I dropped it. It went everywhere on me, but it was only like you know, obviously if you say the pot's like that, there was a bit like that in the bottom. It's like a dirty softener where I've been using the same like applicator, that comes with it. But for some reason, I didn't screw the top on at all, just slightly, as in it looked like it was on. And I picked it up to do the tyres, and as it went up like that, and I brought it towards me, and it came off, hit me, bounced on the table, bounced onto the floor, and you know what that stuff's like. It was horrendous, and I spent about 20 minutes trying to clear the floor up because it's the school floor, but it was all over my trainers, and I can't believe the most annoying thing to happen happened. Anyway, I did have another tub of it, but I sort of used the dregs that I did have. And when we go over what I did on each race and what I changed and what I found out, we'll do that in more detail because I'll have my notes in front of me and the car to show you what I mean. But at least I suppose I improved throughout. I was still way up. The annoying thing is, well, it's not annoying. That's the wrong word. I think it is imperative. And Mark Stiles had already said this in a comment. It wasn't directly just at me. It was during the test and tune day, but it's like a little group of us. And I think I mentioned this in a previous video. The setup, he was talking about tyres, I think, at the time, but the setup of these cars, these LMP12, are crucial to make sure they drive. And I can fully understand if you've got one that handles, you're going to get loads and loads of lap time, which stands to reason. It sounds so obvious. But one of the things you've got to get over is the first and foremost is your driving style. This is for me. Even my driving style with a car that handles, I don't think at the early stages you're going to notice a difference. And I'm finding now that I can, my reactions are slightly better. I'm still making lots of mistakes, but my main goal is not to hit anything. Barriers mainly, because I'm not quick enough to hit a car, because unless they've stopped or they've crashed. But the speed that they're coming in around the corners, because they handle, I can see that now. I need a car now that handles a bit better so I can gain some more lap time, because my actual ability to drive the car around has improved to the point where I can be, I wouldn't say, well, if you've seen my lap times, best 10 and fastest, in my opinion, they should be fairly close. If your best 10 is 10 seconds, for example, and your best 10 is 10 seconds, and your fastest is, I don't know, 9.98, for example, then you're doing well. If there's a lot of disparity between your fastest lap and your best 10, you're not consistent. I'd like to say, and I haven't looked at my lap times at this point. I did look at them a minute ago when I was putting them on the PC, but they looked okay. Depends on what you're working to. If you're working to seconds, then it's a massive gap. 1/10 of a second, 100th of a second, 1,000th of a second. It depends how close you need that. So the closest that is, the better. And as I explained in the video, I think I improved throughout. I'm not, I'm still way off. It's like nearly there's a 2-second gap between me and the next fastest person. Maybe just slightly under 2 seconds. But remember, I'm in the B final, which is just, just the fact that I'm there. When you look at the A finalists, they're sort of a second quicker than the B finalists. So I'm 3 seconds a lap off. So, and when you think of 3 seconds, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, per lap. When something going around that quick, it's a phenomenal amount of time. But on the plus side, I can feel where it is that I'm lacking, and I'm thinking now it's car setup. So in the debrief video of the car, when we have a close look at the car and go through the problems that I had, that will follow this video fairly quickly. It won't be that much of a gap. It will be kind of the next few days for when you see this video. And as I said before, these videos, now, by the time you see this, you're looking at nearly a month down the line. So I'd have forgotten what I've said in these videos. So if you make a comment on something I've said and you refer to that, I might not be straight on the ball what you're talking about, because it's like a month's gone by and other videos have been done. So that's how I work it. Unfortunately, I don't have the time just to go and do a video on a weekly basis and keep up the I can do weekly videos, but in real time they're kind of ahead of time. I do them way ahead of time. So, and I also said I wouldn't be saying that again, but I have, so then never mind. So that's the video for my Wycombe Radio Control Car Club for the 11th of June club meeting. Not sure when my next one is. At this time, it's every 2 weeks. I have made provisions to go again, but I've got a lot going on at the moment, lots of work. So I'm not sure that I'll be able to keep to that schedule, but we'll see. As soon as I know, you'll know when I'm doing the next one. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it, I don't know what to say. Educational? No, probably not. Entertaining? Definitely not. Just more of a how it feels to go and do a club meeting. I'm trying to keep it as real and basic as I can from my perspective. And I'm hoping that there's people out there that might think, well, I might get one of them, and I'm not far from that club or not far from a club, and want to give it a go. Maybe they'll learn a bit off me. The fact that the difficulties that I'm having, maybe they'll learn from that, or maybe they know the answers and they think, well, I don't actually know that. I could do this and this, and I'd be better than what maybe what he is. I don't know. Just hopefully it helps someone. Anyway, thank you, Wycombe RC Club. Thank you to everyone there that gives you advice. It's a very friendly club. I'd recommend it all day long. And I shall see you for my next instalment next time I book in and race. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.